The Philadelphia 76ers have just robbed the Boston Celtics for the #1 pick in this year's draft. And in honor of that, I have to pull out an old Stephen A. Smith. The Celtics have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived by the Philadelphia 76ers. Yesterday, I posted a video that the Celtics and 76ers, among other teams, were in negotiations. I even discussed the possible trades, but none of them were as bad, horrific, terrible, atrocious, horrendous, whatever you want to call it. And I'm afraid to say it because I love Danny Ainge, but Ainge has just been Billy King'd. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to get the point guard of the future, the most coveted player in the draft. The Lakers loved him. Magic Johnson has flat out just said he loves him. The Sixers loved him, obviously. Everyone loved him because they knew he was the best player in this loaded draft class. And he is the perfect fit for the Sixers system in Markelle Fultz. Fultz was even a perfect fit for Boston. But for that, obviously Markelle Fultz being the type of player that he is, you ask, they had to get a ton out of it, right? The Celtics can't give up a transcendent player like that for nothing, can they? Well, apparently they can. The Celtics get the 3rd overall pick, the Lakers 2018 first-round pick, if it falls between 2nd overall and 5th overall. So if it's 1st overall after the lottery, guess what? Philly gets it back. If it's from 6 to 30, guess what? Philly gets it back. And if that does happen, the Celtics will get the 2019 Kings first round unprotected. But in a deal where you know Philly really wants this guy, Philly's waiting to give up anything for this guy. I want the Lakers first round pick unprotected, and I'll even take a Kings first round pick protected. But I have to get both of these picks one way or another. But when I first saw this deal, I'm not going to lie to you, I thought Twitter was trolling. I thought my friends were laughing at me. Guess what y'all got? Ha ha ha. But no, they were serious. Danny Ainge could have gotten more out of a 3-way deal with Chicago. Remember yesterday, Boston would have got Jimmy Butler and the Lakers first round pick, and I wouldn't care about the protections on it if we got a player like Jimmy Butler in the deal. And I've heard reports of Boston looking to trade these assets, but the protections make it so difficult to trade. If I'm Chicago, I'm thinking twice about a first rounder that, if you look at the regular basic numbers, I have a 13% chance to keep. 2 through 5, it's a 13% chance to keep. Or I'll be having to wait an entire year for the Kings pick. And who knows, the Kings might get better. So I'm missing out on a guaranteed Lakers. Lakers are not going to be good next year no matter who they get. They're not going to be good. And that's why Philly knows to protect that pick. And this deal has, in my opinion, set Boston back by a lot. What was Danny thinking? Was he bored? He hasn't made a trade in a while, so he felt compelled just to agree to anything. And another source I was reading, I was doing a lot, obviously it broke breaking news. I'm looking at as many sources as I can to get as much information about it as I can. And another source says Boston has decided to trade the #1 overall pick to avoid creating a logjam of guards. So, Danny, you couldn't find someone to take Terry Rozier from you? Because that's the only thing I can think of. You mean to tell me, and the Celtics fan base and the NBA, that Terry Rozier is better and more valuable than Markelle Fultz? You traded the #1 pick in the draft because you didn't want to get rid of Terry Rozier. I understand. Terry Rozier he got a lot of flack for that. He's turned out to be an okay player, but he won't be as good as Fultz. Fultz can play both point guard and shooting guard. So worst case scenario, you have Fultz playing off the bench at the 2. Also, I have a strong feeling Boston isn't going to want to pay Isaiah Thomas that new Supermax money next year. So why not take Fultz and groom him to be the guard of the future alongside Jaylen Brown? Because if we're being honest, Boston isn't competing with Cleveland, even with Jimmy Butler. So why not have a surefire player like Fultz instead of handing him to Philly? And there's a lot of reports right now that Boston has been looking at Jason Tatum out of Duke. But wouldn't that create a logjam of small forwards, especially if you want Gordon Hayward? So we don't want Gordon Hayward because we'll have Jay Crowder, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Gordon Hayward. That's not attractive to a free agent like Gordon Hayward. And we could have already had Jimmy Butler, but you didn't want to let go of Jay Crowder. So how is four small forwards going to work? They all are worthy of minutes. So how would Brad Stevens divide those minutes to keep all the players happy and win games? As for Philadelphia, they're dapping it up. They're laughing. Ha ha ha. We just robbed Danny. We just robbed the robber. And I have to congratulate Philadelphia on creating, in my opinion, a team that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Dario Saric, Joel Embiid. If that core can stay healthy, they're going to be a problem. That is a video game caliber core right there. And once the Sixers find a real solid shooting guard, and a lot of people are talking about Klay Thompson down the road, but that's a little too far to think ahead because obviously Golden State will get expensive and some players are going to leave, but that's too far ahead to think about. But Philly will become a serious problem in the NBA. And they'll have more than enough cap. It'll be like a Golden State. I'm not going to say they're going to be as good as Golden State. Please don't quote me on that. But they're going to have enough cap space to sign a big-time player, kind of like Golden State, who had enough cap space to sign that big-time player in KD. But once again, Philly, you have to thank one of the most underrated minds in basketball history, Sam Hinkie. If you've trusted the process, you are reaping the benefits right now. As for the Celtics, I don't know where this trade came from. I don't know what the plan is. Obviously, Danny Ainge is the GM. He has all the information. I don't. I genuinely don't know where we're going with this trade. I don't know what direction we're heading in. But there you guys have it. As you can see, I'm 100% against this trade for Boston and 100% for it for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys are saying down low in the comments. I look forward to seeing you there. I'm out.